Hello, everyone, and welcome to Movie Goodness, where we examine life through cinema here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and once again, I'm getting real tired. I'm getting real tired of doing these type of shows. I really am, but nonetheless, it's not doom and gloom in the sense of, oh man, just moping around. It's more of a celebration. It's a celebration, but Lord have mercy, God, just pump the brakes for a second. We're I understand the back to back element, but man, on the same day, we just lost an icon in Dolly Parton, much beloved singer and actress and philanthropist that uh, just just reached every corner of the world. Race, creed, whatever. Everybody loved Dolly Parton. I would argue, in the same sense, everybody loved Tim Curry. Tim Curry was an amazing actor. One of the most underrated actors ever, in my opinion. If pound for pound, he was so versatile as an actor. I don't care what the film is, what the genre is. He excelled in every single one. Whether it's a musical, whether it's a comedy, whether it's a drama, whether it's an action film, whether it's a dark fantasy, he made his mark. Now, did the movies make their mark all the time? Not necessarily, but he was excellent in every single role he was cast in. And even though he hasn't acted or didn't act in anything since, I think 2012 is when he suffered a stroke and he was unable to act again. He was wheelchair ridden. It really did a number on him. But even before that, I don't know if he got the love he truly deserved as an actor, because I mean, this man was truly phenomenal. This was one of those, the Dolly Parton passing, it was a gut punch. This was more when Tim Curry, uh, when they announced that he passed away, it was more of a right hook, to the jaw. It was like, oh my God, really? Even though he disappeared from the limelight due to his health, it was still kind of out of left field. It's like, my God, just out of coincidence, he also, just like Dolly Parton, was 80 years old. It's like that's the limit for greatness, at this point. It's sad. It's really sad. In 80 years, it just feels like 80 is not enough time. And I guess I say that now as I get older, as I'm knocking on 50 door, and I can see 80. I can see that coming, God spare. And so I don't want that, I don't want to be counting my days once I hit 70. But I really am going to miss this dynamic actor. And, immediately, because I didn't know, I wasn't on line or anything like that when they announced it all. I don't even know what I was doing, but my wife had called me and told me. She was like, "Did you know Tim Curry died too?" I'm like, "Tim Curry?" And I'm like, "No." I said he had a stroke. That was like 10 years ago or something. That's what I'm like. No, he's not dead. Um, and then I immediately went to scrolling, and I'm like, in the first thing, or one of the first things that popped up on my timeline was the news. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And due to the fact of Dolly Parton's passing on the 25th of August, he passed on the 25th of August as well. But I guess they held that back until after the Dolly Parton, because that just consumed everything. the news, the media. I was talking to my mom about her, and she was like, "Yeah," because she still watched soap operas, and she was like, "Yeah, I was watching my soap operas. I think Young and the Restless or whatever, and it broke in on the news." I'm like, "Are you serious?" She like, "Yeah, it broke in that Dolly Parton had passed. It was that monumental of a thing. It was breaking news that Dolly Parton passed away." And I guess they were like, "Well, it doesn't make sense." At least, Tim Curry's peoples, they were like, "Well, it doesn't make sense to announce that Tim Curry passed away today. We'll wait. We'll sit on it a day." And it was announced on the 26th that he passed on the 25th of August. And the 25th of August is like a cursed date for talent. Uh, you have Tim Curry, you have Dolly Parton passing away on that day, on the same day, and it was the anniversary of the passing of the R&B singer and actress Aaliyah, who was well, I say was, she still is, and she's been dead and gone for what, about 25 years now. It is like, oh my God, I miss her. That is my forever crush, Aaliyah, and she passed away on August the 25th as well. But nonetheless, Tim Curry, awesome actor, one of my faves, one of my faves. And I'm not saying that just because he passed away, and everybody always speaks good of the dead and all that. There, no, it's the honest to God truth. I really love Tim Curry because you got to understand that I grew up in the '80s, and during that era, he popped up in so many things that I considered around that time my favorite, that I enjoyed so much. The main one, and this is what my wife said when she called me to tell me the news. She was like, "Yeah, I gotta watch Clue now. I haven't watched Clue in so long. I'm gonna watch it this week or by this weekend." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, me too," because I had said I was gonna watch Clue, and I don't know, a couple of months ago, just randomly, and I never got around to watching it again. And so I got to watch it again. But I love Clue. I know Clue is a divisive film. A lot of people don't like Clue. I loved Clue. I absolutely adore Clue. I don't know why, but it was like one of those films in that era that was kind of unique. It was just the funniest thing to me. Still to this day, I would laugh out loud to that movie. It's just something about that movie that appeals to every sensibility that I possess. And I loved him in it. I loved everybody in that movie. But another film that came out the same year as Clue was Legend. And I didn't know this particular fact until years later. I want to say in the 90s when I found out that Tim Curry was darkness. He was the devil in the sense, but he's called darkness in the movie. The big red thing with the horns and everything. I did not know. And I watched Legend multiple times back then. I was, because it was early Tom Cruise, and it was a fantasy film, and it was dark, and it was moody, and it was just a haunting fantasy film that I wasn't expecting around that time, and it stuck with me even to this day. And didn't know it was Tim Curry. Did not know. But I loved that character. I loved darkness in that movie. And I love him to the point where I worship him. But I just love the character. And so on and so forth. Home Alone 2. Loved him in Home Alone 2. Loved him in Congo. Loved him in The Hunt for Red October, the small role he had in that. Scary Movie 2, Loaded Weapon 1. It just goes on and on and on and on. The man was phenomenal. A phenomenal actor. And, of course, everybody and their grandmother probably know him best as Pennywise the Clown in the It miniseries from the late 80s, early 90s, whenever that came out. But he was just a haunting presence in that movie. I think that's around the time I found out he was Darkness in Legend, when it came out. But he was so chilling as Pennywise. All respect to Bill Skarsgård, who reprised the role in the theatrical remakes just recently, even on the show, the TV show Welcome to Derry. But he was good. But Tim Curry as Pennywise the Clown, because he wasn't that freakish monster as Bill Skarsgård version was, even though he was, but it was Bill Skarsgård's version was more monster than clown, and Tim Curry's version of Pennywise was more clown than monster, and you can kind of believe that children would gravitate to that version of Pennywise, and I can see where he can lure children in, because he had that. It was just his presence, his charisma in that role, and it was so believable. That's the only thing that really makes that miniseries stand out. It was Tim Curry as Pennywise, but that's probably his second most popular role. I take back that was everybody know him from that. I think more people probably know him from his first role, I should say, on film, and that was Dr. Frank-N-Furter in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which came out in 1973. And that movie, oddly enough, I did a show on it a couple of years ago because it was the first time I ever watched that show. I watched that movie. I had never watched the Rocky Horror Picture Show. No particular reason. I just never got around to watching it. It didn't really appeal to me because I thought it was like I don't know, just a goofy musical. And I'm not a musical guy. At least I wasn't. I'm more into musicals now that I've gotten older, oddly enough. But I wasn't a musical guy growing up. I hated musicals. And it was Moulin Rouge, oddly enough, that really introduced me to musicals, to whereas I like musicals now. So a few years ago, I decided, you know what? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So I went ahead and watched it and deeply enjoyed it. I was like, man, I missed out. This is such a good movie. And Tim Curry's portrayal of Dr. Frank-N-Furter was hilarious. It was hilarious and deeply moving at the same time. When you peel back to the under those layers to get to the message of that movie. I thought it was, number one, it was well before its time, but it started off as a musical, and that's where Tim Curry got his start. He didn't get his start in film. He was a musical. He performed on stage. He had a full-time role as part of the original London cast of the musical Hair, and that started in 1968, where he met Richard O'Brien, who went on to write the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And so, even though he was good friends with the writer and whatnot, when he auditioned, he actually auditioned for Rocky Horror, for that role, for the blonde hair, for the German, with the German accent and whatnot. But he was going to try an American accent for the role. But they, cooler heads prevailed, or however the expression goes, and they cast him instead as Dr. Frank-N-Furter. And so, and the rest is history. The rest is history. He went on to perform the role on stage for 2 years until 20th Century Fox at the time decided to have the bright idea to make it a film and cast him in the role. They're like, well, he's been playing the role and been playing it well. Let's just keep him in the role. And he was rolling ever since that. He continued to work on the stage. That's his first love, and he did that up till his unfortunate stroke in 2012. But in between all that, he was prominent in Hollywood. After the Rocky Horror Picture Show, he went on to be a part of Times Square in 1980, Annie in 1982, Legend in 1985, also Clue in 1985, The Hunt for Red October in 1990, The Player in 92, passed away, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York in 92. In 1993, he was a part of Loaded Weapon 1, which was which was the craziest Lethal Weapon swoop movie that you were ever going to watch. The Three Musketeers, The Shadow, Congo, Muppet Treasure Island. He starred as Lone John Silver in that movie. The Addams Family Reunion, McHale's Navy, Charlie's Angels in 2000, the mildly decent one. Because they are all bad. Scary Movie 2, Christmas in Wonderland. He also did a ton of work on television as well, hosting Saturday Night Live in 1981, being on the Tracy Ullman Show, Wise Guy, and of course It in 1990, Roseanne, Tales from the Crypt, which everybody was on Tales from the from the Crypt, Earth 2, The Naked Truth, Titanic, the TV movie, not the James Cameron one, Monk, Psych, Alice, Criminal Minds. Yeah, he really put in some work. He was all over the place. But here's the one that I always knew from the very beginning, and it's one of those, man, I would have liked to have seen how that played out. Even though the actor who got the role eventually was phenomenal in the role, you still would have loved to see Tim Curry's version of it. Tim Curry was originally cast to provide the voice of the Joker in Batman the Animated Series. I think he did the pilot episode, and they decided to go with Mark Hamill, who we all know as Luke Skywalker, but he did the voice of the Joker. It still does, I think, for certain movies and whatnot. But Mark Hamill is phenomenal as the voice of Joker. But Tim Curry, can you imagine Tim Curry providing the voice of Joker? Oh my God, that would be phenomenal. That would have been phenomenal. I would have loved to have seen that in some shape, form, or fashion. But unfortunately, that wasn't meant to be. As far as his health, he was a heavy chain smoker. He smoked cigarettes like 90 going west. But he stated that he also used hash and cocaine back in the day. He also spent time in alcohol rehab, but he did not consider himself an alcoholic. And on July the 13th, 2012, he suffered a major stroke, oddly enough, while receiving a massage. And the stroke required brain surgery. That's how massive it was. And so he used a wheelchair after that and continued to experience mobility issues, particularly in his left arm and leg. It also affected his short-term memory. And in September of last year, 2025, he still was unable to walk. And so, unfortunately, Tim Curry died in his home in Los Angeles on August the 25th. At the age of 80. As of right now, they don't know the cause of death, at least the time of this recording, but most people are speculating that it is due to the multiple health issues that were, accompanied with that stroke he suffered in 2012. as far as his accolades are concerned, he didn't go completely unnoticed throughout his career. He did get a Actors Fund of America honor, the Artistic Achievement Award in 2015. He was nominated for a Cable Ace Award in 1995 for Best Actor in a Dramatic Series on, believe it or not, Tales from the Crypt. Um, he he was nominated twice and won one Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Performer. One for Outstanding Performer in a Children's Series, which he won for Peter Pan and the Pirates in 1991, and he was nominated for Outstanding Performer in an animated program, Mighty Max, in 1995. A Drama Desk Award, he was nominated twice for that. He was nominated for a Grammy Award in 2002, believe it or not, for Best Spoken Word Album for Children, The Series of Unfortunate Events, The Bad Beginning. He was nominated twice for the Laurence Olivier Award for Best Actor in a Musical in 1982 for The Pirates Parisians, and in 2007 for Spamalot. He was nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award in 1994 for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Drama Series for, you guessed it, Tales from the Crypt. He won the Royal Variety Club Award for Stage Actor of the Year in 1982, and he was nominated 3 times for a Tony Award. In 1981 for Best Actor in a Play for Amadeus, in 1993 and 2005 for Best Actor in a Musical. In 1993 it was for My Favorite Year, and in 2005 for Spamalot. And you know, all that's fine and good, but I really believe he deserved more. Just for his versatility, you know. And I know you can't single out one performance for that, but he was just so versatile. I mean, he literally performed in every single genre you have in film and on stage, and excelled in them all. I think he is a treasure of an actor and deserves some love. And I just wanted to hop on here for a little while to give honor and respect to the one and only Tim Curry, passed away at the ripe young age of 80 years old. He will be missed. He will be missed. Honestly, we were already missing him ever since he suffered that stroke since 2012. You know, it's just been a little magic hasn't been on screen for so long, you know, and now it's never going to come back. You know, it was always that hope of maybe he can, you know, pop up in a cameo or something that, you know, he can recover a little bit to the point where he can, you know, make an appearance on something. It was always there, but now it's solidified. It's not going to happen. And, you know, I'm a little sad by that. But I will say kudos to him. He had an incredible career that should be celebrated, and I will be celebrating because I'm going to watch Clue over this weekend. I wish I would have watched it before so I could have reviewed it. I probably could have reviewed it because I remember every little aspect of that movie. I watched it so many times, but I wanted to get a little refresher before I review it. But yeah, man, rest in peace, Tim Curry. I would like to know, what was your favorite Tim Curry performance? Was it Pennywise? Was it Legend? Was it the Rocky Horror Picture Show, or so on and so forth? He gave us a lot to chew on throughout his life and career. You can subscribe to the KBRadioNetwork.com website, where you can be notified of new episodes that are dropping on the network, as well as listen to previous episodes that's available from this network. Also, don't forget about YouTube. You can do the same over there. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video while you're there. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to Movie Goodness here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me. Hopefully, man, I don't want to do another one of these shows for a while. You know, I think we've had our fill of grief. You know, let us give us some space here. Just give us some space. This was a lot to deal with in the past 48 hours with the passing of Dolly Parton and Tim Curry. That was a lot to deal with, and I think we all need a break. Until the next time, I want you all to know that I love you. Continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.